Warrior. It is critical and crucial that we talk about the following subject, and that is the current documentary that is airing right now, called Quiet on Set. For years, working in the entertainment business, I heard whispers about what goes on Nickelodeon, which was developed, in the late 80s actually, through the 90s and 2000s, children's programming. It was the alternative to adult programming. They viewed the programs, for instance, Kids' Choice Awards. That was the Kids' Oscars. But here's why I want to get into it. But first, I want to ask you to please honor us. Please subscribe to Lynn's Warriors YouTube channel. We are building numbers, which means we are building messaging, which means we're getting out there into the community. Our hashtag is Community Creates Change. I'm telling you this because when I go through the analytics on these videos, I see that 40% of you watching are not subscribed. It doesn't take much to just hit the subscribe button. This way, more of us will hear about what you really need to hear about that a lot of media is not covering. The reason I want to tell you about Nickelodeon, I want to say I'm happy, but happy is kind of the wrong word with all of this predation with kids and teens. But because I heard these whispers, I did not firsthand see anything because my career, I did not work with children. The one exception being I was a producer on the Broadway production of Miracle Worker, the 50th anniversary revival production starring Abigail Breslin. Some of you might remember her, Little Miss Sunshine. Remember that movie? I want to say maybe it was around, I don't even remember when that movie was, but that is when everybody met Abigail Breslin. And she was in The Miracle Worker on Broadway. Well, let me tell you, we had her mother there every single day who did not leave her side for a second. There was also a bodyguard there to protect her at all times. There also was a tutor who taught her, her schooling. That was the only thing that I dealt with directly that I could actually talk about and witness. And that is the correct procedure when there was a minor on a set, a minor on a Broadway production. So that was A+ for Abigail Breslin. Now, currently, Quiet on Set, airing on Investigation Discovery, also streaming on Max. Last night was the first episode. Tonight is another episode. We're talking, today is the 18th of March. I don't know when you're watching this, that's why I'm pointing it out. Why this is so critical and crucial is because now these whispers can be confirmed. Remember, if I don't have firsthand knowledge, if I haven't witnessed it, if I don't have the proof, I can't do anything about it. When I would say to people who would give me this information, why aren't you going to the police? Why aren't you reporting it to your higher-ups at work? They would always say the same thing. And this is what the two women writers in this documentary say exactly. Well, we're afraid for our jobs. We need the jobs. The entertainment jobs are few and far between. The parents of a lot of these kids, they're naive, these child actors. The agents are telling them, don't open your mouths, don't ruin this for your child, don't ruin the money flow. A lot of these kids were the source of income, the sole source of income for their families. I'm not blaming parents in that sense. I'm blaming that everybody, there is this silence, this secret, it's like being bullied. Okay, let's get past that. So now we have the stories coming out. We've certainly all witnessed Amanda Bynes. I used to watch that program when it was on, and I thought, my goodness, this young girl is so incredibly talented. Fast forward, she's had so many brushes with the law, admits to being bipolar, has done arrested for a DUI, I think, was found fairly recently naked walking down a street, but recognized she was in trouble and told somebody passing by, please call the 911 for me. Now we have the kids coming forward that are now adults. I want everybody to realize that you cannot say, which working with the warriors, working with a lot of victims, working with a lot of survivors, whether it's human trafficking, sexual exploitation, it's always the same thing. Do not ever say to me, why didn't they run away? Do not ever say to me, why didn't they report it? Look at the stats for women and rape. Girls, we'll say college girls, because there is a study out that 40% of freshman college girls are reporting they've been raped, actually, date rape. So we have to look at all of this, and I'm going to have all this information in the body of this video. But I urge all of you, it is good news that we now have this documentary. There have been whispers about this Dan Schneider for years, behind the scenes bullying people and other things, taking advantage of vulnerable kids and their families. And the documentary points out, and I don't want to ruin it for you because I want you to watch it. I want you to use it as it's a 4-part series as an educational tool. We cannot allow this predation anymore around our kids. When have our kids been considered chattel? I know it's been going on since the days of Clara Bow and Shirley Temple, but now we're going to get it out in the open. Where's the Me Too movement? It's beginning for children, for teens, okay? You have to realize this doesn't go away. This gets buried. This is a trauma that a child will endure for the rest of their lives. Remember, I work with adult victims, survivors, and they have good days and bad days. No amount of therapy, no amount of getting it out in the open, no amount of health care, whether it's psychological or medical related to this exploitation, they live with this the rest of their lives. So as far as kids go, these are our future adults, our future leaders, and we're allowing this predation. There's so much talk about sex rings in Hollywood. There's a boy sex ring that has been going on for years. We need the proof. We need victims to come forward. 2 brave women writers. They were the only 2 women on behind the scenes in Nickelodeon with this Dan Schneider, this wonder boy, so to speak, child actor kind of thing, teen actor, I should say, not child actor. And then he was tapped for Nickelodeon, which is Paramount, which is the parent company is Warner Brothers. Remember, Paramount was VH1, MTV. It was all the cool stuff back in the day, 80s, 90s. This was not cool. In retrospect, when you watch the documentary, if you look back at things I used to say, being a student of media back in the day, that seems rather inappropriate. A teen girl, a young teen girl, in a hot tub with a grown man. That seems rather inappropriate on the set to see an image from behind the scenes, which the documentary points out, of, I always heard there were these children were asked to give massages to adults. Very inappropriate. Parents who were banished to, off the set, inappropriate. The parents who did speak up, their children suffered or were fired eventually from some of these series. You have to wonder, not many of them are speaking out, these now adults who were child actors on a variety of these shows, So are they scared? Are they embarrassed? We don't know. Have they taken money settlements? We just don't know anything. We do know that this horrible Dan Schneider was fired last year for harassment, verbal harassment. Well, there's a lot more to that story, but I want you to watch this documentary. With that being said, I will be also interviewing Arden Young. If you go back, and I want you to go back and look at Arden's Warriors YouTube videos. I did interview her a couple of months ago. We were talking about Pornhub. She was a child actress. Just today it's breaking how, and she's been talking about it lately, a Hollywood photographer who did many headshots for kids, teens, young adults, sexually preyed upon them. And it's always the same story. They gain the trust, these creeps, of the parents, the guardian. The parents feel, okay, it's okay for the child perhaps to be alone with this person. Perhaps they're very, very, they take their time, these predators. For instance, Arden, she was a legal adult when this happened to her, this alleged incident with this photographer in Hollywood. So she thought, I can't go to the police because I went there of free will. After knowing him for 5 years, he knew her since she was 15, and the incident occurred at 20. They're very patient, these predators. And she thought, I willingly, so I trusted him and went along with it. Nobody will believe me. We cannot let our children be abused. Every day I am reading more and more stories of teachers abusing, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. Just today I read one, a teacher allegedly abusing a 12-year-old boy, a female teacher. Stories are never ending. Articles are never ending. Press releases about these incidents, never ending. People sending me things, never ending. You know what's never ending? All of this predation. But in 2024, you're going to be joining the warriors. We are going to create this change that I envision, that I dream about. That if we get each and every one of you in your community to share the information with family members, remember, it starts in your home. Open and honest communication with your children. You may have grandchildren. You may not have children. You may be an aunt or an uncle. So you're going to share it with, your siblings. Then you're going to somehow share it in your community, whether it's your place of worship, whether you belong to a group and organization. You are going to get out there and start talking about this. I am so happy Quiet on Set is now coming out and talking about all of this. And not only is it, I shouldn't say not only, that doesn't sound right, but all of this predation with children, this bullying, this sexism against these two women writers. Unbelievable. Why was this allowed, you might ask? It's always the same, because it makes money. This Dan Schneider, Nickelodeon, the shows he was producing and creating were making a lot of money. Let's separate even that. There are child labor laws on sets. They were ignored. It's another, let's put in another hour. Let's put in another 2 hours. Where was everybody? Who's complicit in all of this? Lots of questions, but the answers are starting to come out. The warriors stand with all of the child actors now that are adults with Nickelodeon. We'll be having Arden Young. I'll be re-interviewing her about this case with this Hollywood photographer. We're setting that up right now. We want to do all of this. There is no amount of money worth it to you or your child. It is not glitz and glamour. I now understand The Miracle Worker was 2010. I now understand why Abigail Breslin was so surrounded and insulated. Her mother knew. Okay, her mother. She had a bodyguard. She had everybody around her. And I used to think, a bodyguard, maybe because so many little girls would want to come up to her after the show and meet her and get her signature. But you know what? I'm beginning to think the bodyguard was also there to keep the predators away. We have to protect our children. Our children are golden. Why this abuse? Why is it allowed to escalate? There is no more Hollywood, the kind of Hollywood I grew up with, you grew up with. Let's talk about it. Again, a reminder for everybody to subscribe to Lynn's Warriors. Follow us, lynswarriors.org. We just sent out a great newsletter. Please sign up for that. And also thank you to all of you who have donated, who are offering to volunteer. We have so many activities coming up that I want to tell you about. We have 2 great ones I want to mention this week. If you're in New York, now you have to be a New York warrior for this one. We are going up to Albany, Wednesday, March 20th. We are lobbying, talking about, explaining to legislators 2 child safety bills for digital safety. Why these bipartisan bills are so urgent and important. Okay, we have that. Then on Friday, March 22nd, in front of the Meta, that's Facebook and Instagram, everybody, 770 Broadway, down by Union Square, we're going to be having a rally, Moms Against Media Madness, Moms for Digital Safety, a whole slew. I'm going to put it all in the body of this video so you can follow along. If you do nothing else, share the information, share our tweets, X's, whatever they're called now. Follow us on Instagram. We need to build these numbers because you and I, we know, and I'm whispering now, they like to hold numbers down. They like to not circulate information, but we're getting it out there. Join us. Community creates change. Again, many thanks to all of you for joining me. Subscribe. And always remember, be a warrior.